Alright, so another quick little video. I fired this guy up, just trying to keep it running. Smooth the choke a little bit. Gonna hook the battery charger for a minute. It's starting to run a little smoother. And oh, kind of burped there, didn't it? We'll let that run for a minute. Got a big bag of trash. Shop's a little bit of a mess. My bench is a big mess. This bench isn't too bad though, y'all. Look at that. So, put a cutting wheel on there. I need to put a flapper disc back on it. But just to bring you up to speed a little bit, I don't know if I showed y'all, but the engine is in the car. I gotta change the oil and stuff. Dad and I put the radiator in here and we positioned this. Basically gonna be our tie down for the radiator, and the radiator is gonna sit in between here now instead of underneath and all. I changed the fan out from a 6-blade to a 4-blade to see if it works a little bit better. Some people say that a 4-blade is better, that they're getting cooler temperatures, but I don't know. But anyway, I got the power steering pump on there and all that. I gotta weld this, but I'll fit it. I'll put the radiator back in with the fan shroud, which is over here, that Dad made. And what we think is, we think we're gonna have to modify this a little bit. This top part that used to come down, this will probably get cut, I imagine. A couple things so that it fits this bar just right and all that, but nothing traumatic, nothing big deal. I do think I'm gonna rotate the motor today a little bit. We got the new brake calipers on. I turned the rotors and all that. I might have to touch the back a little bit again because I got some welding splatter on there, right there. I'll just take a flap disc and hit it. We got the brake lines run. We moved this over, probably in another video that we showed. This, I don't know if I showed y'all, but it was over here and it was a single tab like the other side, right? See if it'll focus, y'all. Right there where that bolt goes through. Anyway, I got gloves on, so I can only use one hand. I got gloves on one hand. So I took an old shock mount off that was bent up, that I cut off of a busted up A-arm. I put that on there, and I moved the chain over. Right now the whole rear end is hanging on this chain. So I do have a jack stand down here, but it's not really on it. But I put it under there to catch it, to see what was going to happen overnight. It's been sitting for 2 days like this. As you can see, there's slack in the other chain. I got the J-bar. I worked on the heim joints, and I put a spacer behind here. I made that so that this thing moves more freely, so it'll articulate better. And I did it up there too. I had to bend those out. I don't know if y'all can tell that, but whoever built the car, when they put the, I don't know, the J-bar bracket on, it's way too thin and it bends too much. And I couldn't really get a spacer in there because they welded it so close to each other. So I just kind of bent it out and moved it. So now I got a little bit of free play. This thing actually moves, because it wouldn't do that. It would only go about that. It would go this way up against here, but it wouldn't go the other way. That joint up there is a little bit stiff in one specific direction, but this thing isn't going to turn that direction really. So the bolt was so long and I only had one nut, So I drilled a hole through it and put a cotter pin. The only thing I got left back here is check the rear end fluid and put grease on the U-joint, and then I gotta hang a weight right back here, one of these lead weights. I gotta put it right there. I'm not even cleaning that crap. Nobody's looking underneath my car right now. I don't care at this point. But anyway, I got the brake lines run. As you can see, I got slack there. This one is on the jack stand. I got the chains will stop these shocks from reaching max by about an inch. I think that one over there is 3/4 to an inch ish, and this side is about 1.25 inches. It's just how my chain link worked out. So I do have a little bit of a cushion before it bottoms out and breaks the shock. I'm not going to change this tab. I tried to show you from the other side. See, it's just a single. I'm not going to change it when it breaks. Then I'll change it, and if the other one's holding on, I'll put a shock mount on there. I worked on all the heim joints. Oops. Got them all working pretty good. That one over there too. So everything back here is pretty much done. Hang a weight, grease the U-joint for the drive shaft, and check the fluid. And then I'm not messing with the cockpit right now. What I am going to do is I'm going to do the front brakes now. So I got to come up here, and I got this hooked up. This is a brand new caliper, but it's from last year. I put it on about 3/4 of the way through last year, so it only has a couple races on it. I'm going to take this off and clean it up. And then Jason Dukes has a video online, Dirt Race Life, where he made a shim for the inside of here. I call it a shim. I don't remember what he called it, but anyway, if you look at late models and stuff like that, they have a spacer or whatever inside, and they set it with some kind of gauge. I don't know it all yet. I just watched a video on it, and I'm gonna have to watch it a couple times to remember terminology and stuff. But anyway, it keeps you from over tightening the bearings and making this drag real hard. When they, like, I spin mine, and that's about all it spins, which is a lot freer than it used to be when I got the car. I gotta weld that. But they use a lot less grease, and they're using some certain type of grease, but I'm not going to that right now. I'm just in a street stock. I need to save some money. But I am thinking about trying to make a spacer while I have this off, and I'm going to do it on both sides. But because they can spin theirs, and that dude will spin for like 10 minutes. It just rolls. So I'm going to try, I think I'm going to try to copy what Jason Dukes did on Dirt Race Life. Y'all go check that video out, because that guy can save you some money if you're willing to do the work. Some people just want to, they just go out and they just buy the part and do it. But anyway, I got to do those. The other caliper is on. I do have it on in the fittings. I'll just double check the tightness. I got to take this rotor off too, so I'll take it off. I'll clean it up, and all I'm using is a straight edge to check for levelness and flatness, and I'm using a flapper disc. I'm cleaning them. I'm turning them myself with a flapper disc instead of taking them and having them turned for like 10 bucks a piece. I'm spending 10 to 20 minutes and just turning them myself, 10 to 20 minutes a piece. If I got to take them down and drop them off, I got to drive 10 minutes, drop them off. They'll be there for an hour or two, and then I got to drive back down there. So I can literally do both fronts for like an hour and I'm done. Everything's mounted back up and all that, and everything. So, and that one looks really good. So that's a new rotor also. So I'll clean that one up. It won't take but a couple minutes. Honestly, I would clean it right there with a flapper disc inside and out if I didn't have to weld that stud, and if I didn't want to play with trying to make that spacer. So yeah, and I'll get under there and I'll grease the drive shaft and all that stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm working from the back to the front. Yes, I have to put that weight. Yes, I got to check fluids and stuff, but I'm gonna check fluids at the very end, and grease it at the very end, and then I'll go get it scaled and all that. Hopefully a guy that I met can scale it. Man, it's cold in Ohio, y'all. And then after he scales it, then I'll bring it home and I'll go through and grease everything again. I'll grease everything up and check all the fluids again, and we'll roll from there. I think I'm gonna buy another shock. This is an old shock. The guy that had it before me had this shock on there, and I know where they go because I have 4 of them. I marked them: left front, left rear, right rear. So, and that one keeps breaking. I think I said before, but they keep breaking right here. But when you look at the Bilsteins, however y'all want to say it, it's got this big washer piece right here. I should have changed this end, but being new, I didn't really think of it. But this thing was hanging over this out here, because to get this lined up so it's not hitting something to work, it has to be this way towards the front of the car. And these shocks don't have that. They're narrower, so this will actually, if it gets jammed up, it's going to go up in here and just bend the bolt. I have one extra washer, and it throws it out of alignment a little bit. But anyway, I should have put this end on the Bilstein and tried that, but I'm not spending. I think I'm gonna go do a different kind of shock. I don't know. I'm gonna call the guy that I bought the Bilsteins from and see if I can get the compression rate and the rebound rates. That way, if he's out, because he quit racing, but he still owns his Dan Wallace product racing shop in Toledo. So y'all go check him out. But yeah, I want to be able to try another shock brand if I break another one. Obviously, if I break another one, it's not the shock, because other people are running the shock. Something's happening and it's binding up somehow. Hence, I cut that bottom bar off. I know I showed that on another video. I still got to paint this thing. It ain't been painted and it's been sitting here for like a year. Nah, really, probably like 6 months or so. But I thought maybe, because it's on the bottom, I thought maybe when I was going in the turn and it was rolling over on the right front, maybe it was digging in the ground and jamming everything up. So I cut that off, and then like I say, I moved this a little bit, and I noticed that ear piece on there. So I'm gonna try those and see, but I'm not getting into the bottom of this or any of that yet. I am thinking about doing what Jason Dukes on Dirt Race Life, y'all. That dude is, I'm just gonna say, he's badass as far as I'm concerned for street stock stuff to help us. But especially for those of us who don't really know people and don't have friends that can that are willing to tell us stuff that's been racing for a while. I only know like 2 or 3 people, and maybe 4 now, but they run 2 of them run different tracks, 90% of the time, and they have their own stuff, and they got to protect their own setups and stuff, and I get all that. But anyway, they make a limiter chain, I guess. Just back there, I'm not using it as limiters. I'm just using it in case I get in a wreck, so the rear end don't fly completely out of it. They make a chain like a limiter, but Jason Dukes used like a long bolt and a spacer, and he's able to go up and down with it and stuff. He also has a chain. He has got a couple different videos, but anyway, keep this a little bit short because we're already at like 16 minutes. That's where we're at. We're gonna do the front today. It's Monday. I hope all of you have a great Monday. I'll bring you back as I make more progress. Right now we're on my phone. The Insta360's got so many videos on it and I don't have no space on my computer, and the hard drives don't have enough space, so I'm waiting on a new one to come in so I can transfer the videos over and do what I got to do. I don't know what's going on with my computer. It should have more than enough space. I mean, I got a terabyte worth of space on my computer, but for some reason it's telling me I've used up like 900 gigs. So, and I've been deleting a ton of stuff. I've deleted a couple hundred gigs, but it's not changing it up. Oh man, only a little bit of smoke. Not too bad, y'all. Not too bad. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. My little hook broke, y'all. So let's get some wood and throw it in there. Y'all have a good Monday. I'll bring you back in a little while. I'm gonna shut off this skid steer. God bless you.